Hi, friend. Okay, I have a very important question for you. When is the last time that you gave yourself permission to just be, to be here now, to just be in flow, to follow your inner authority, to follow what felt right for you, to do what feels good? When was the last time that you just let what felt good, what felt expansive, what felt exciting lead you? Have you ever even done this? This is something I'm going to talk about a lot on this channel because it's pretty much my purpose. My purpose here, my purpose for doing this podcast is to be your reminder to be here now, to live in divine alignment, to tap in and tune in and connect with yourself in any moment and feel what's right for you. But so few of us actually even know what that feels like. It is so wild how this human existence, this 3D world, conditions us to the habit of busy, to this belief that the busier that we are, the more successful we are, the more hardworking we are, the more deserving we are of success, of abundance, of whatever we want. Like so many of us spend so much time just doing and proving and pleasing and pushing and forcing and exhausting ourselves. For what reason? Because one day we'll have whatever it is that we think will bring us happiness? Here's the answer, the truth. Nothing in the future can bring you happiness now. Nothing in the future can bring you happiness now. All that exists is now. That's it. That's all. This is all we have, is this moment. And every moment is an opportunity to be happy, to choose love, to choose to be present, to choose to experience whatever is going on in your existence at the time. But most of the time, we are living in the past or the future. We're either trying to make things that have happened in the past not happen, or trying to recreate them because we survived that thing, so we might as well keep doing it over and over again. Or we're so focused on these things, these ideas that we want the future to bring that will then make us happy, that then we will feel worthy, that then we will feel like enough, that then we will feel smart enough, that then we will feel worthy, loved, whatever. I think I said worthy a few times there, probably because it's one of the biggest things that we're all looking to feel. But the reason we don't feel worthy is because we aren't choosing to allow ourselves to be here and now. When we spend the present moment just doing and forcing and pushing and exhausting ourselves, settling and suffering and struggling so that someday in the future we'll have whatever we think we want, and then we'll feel happiness, even if all of the things happen, everything aligns and it's all what's meant to be and you get all of those things, you most likely will still be so conditioned to the habit of being busy, the habit of pushing and pleasing and proving, that you still won't be truly happy. Because by then you will have so much more expectation of how you should be, of what you should be doing. You will have created all of these other thoughts and beliefs. And I'm here to wake you up from these lies that you're living, these lies that you're telling yourself. And you know that they're lies. You know that they're lies. I know you do, or you wouldn't be here listening to a podcast called the Divinely Aligned Channel. There's some level of curiosity in you as to how your life can be better, how you can be happier, how you can be more connected, more authentic, more in love with yourself and your life, right? Are you in any way? Then I'm going to guess that you spend most of your days seeking and searching and trying to find the ways to get that happiness, the ways to feel worthy, the ways to feel loved or validated. And again, you're just spending your days in the energy of busy, which is another way that we numb and run and hide and avoid from the truth. Avoid the truth that we have everything we need right now. That you, divinely aligned, right here now in the moment, know what you need to do, know what you want, know how you want to show up. But we are so afraid of being vulnerable, of being seen in our authenticity, mostly by ourselves, that we just keep playing this game of being busy. Think about it. Like, when is the last time you ran into someone that you haven't seen for a while? And we ask, how are you doing? Oh, good, fine, really busy, right? And then we go into this like list of all the things that we've done, or you get on the phone with your best friend or whatever, and it's like all these things that are going on in your life that are stopping you from doing what you want to do, or all these things that you're perceiving to be going wrong and taking up so much of your time. But when these things are all done, then you'll be able to focus on what you really want to do. Then you'll be able to focus and hone in on what you enjoy doing. Then you'll give yourself time for you, right? I work with people, and the hardest thing for me to get anyone to do is to commit to showing up for themselves an hour of every day. There are 24 hours in the day. Why can you not give yourself one? Because we're so caught up in this belief that we have to do all of these things to be worthy of our own time, of our own attention. So again, we are caught up in this habit of being busy because we have been conditioned to believe, and there's a lot of different ways we've been conditioned to this. So whatever resonates for you, but we've been conditioned to believe that if we aren't doing and proving and working hard and struggling and suffering and hustling, then we must be doing it wrong. Then we're not worthy. Then we're not going to be successful. How many people do you know that work really hard, and don't have true abundance? Working hard doesn't equal abundance. Working hard equals working hard and creates more hard work. So even if you're working really hard and you're manifesting, creating a lot of wealth in opportunities, wealth in finances, wealth in connections, you have a lot of things, and that's what you're going after, right? You're working hard to get the things, to do the things, to accomplish the things. But you have to keep working hard to do those things because that's the energy that you've created that in, right? And I know that there's a lot of people, me being one of them, that I love doing things. I really, truly enjoy creating. But when I get stuck in the habit of busy, in the belief that it needs to be harder, I need to be pushing and forcing and doing and hustling, when I get stuck in that energy, all of my magic shuts down. I stop enjoying what I'm doing because I'm trying so hard to prove something. I'm working for this desired outcome or expectation rather than enjoying doing whatever I am doing. I'm not someone that's going to stop doing. So, and I am someone that constantly, daily right now has to really work on slowing down, on giving myself the time and the space and the grace to just be in flow. I have conditioned myself after being an entrepreneur for the last 20 years that there's always something to do, right? And I have this overwhelming to-do list in my head of all things that need to happen. And I'm constantly, until I catch myself, but my unconscious programming is constantly trying to figure out the easiest, fastest way to get as much done as possible. But if I have any free time, like let's say I'm a little ahead of schedule and I have an extra 10 minutes before I have to leave, instead of, leaving early in case traffic is crazy or whatever, instead of that, my unconscious programming looks for anything that it can possibly do to fill that 10 minutes so that we can, be as um productive as possible, right? What could we possibly do in this 10 minutes rather than just like leave and drive and be in peace and ease getting somewhere? And then usually what my unconscious programming picks is something that's going to take about 25 minutes, but I'm an internal optimist. And this is all a story. I'm going to get somewhere with this because it's really entertaining and I know I'm not alone in this. So what my internal optimist then does is, okay, this, it's probably going to take longer than 10 minutes, but most likely I can do it in 15. And traffic, I can manifest that it's going to be really good. It'll be fine. I'll get there right on time. And if I'm not, it'll be how it's meant to be, right? So I do this thing. So then I'm rushing through whatever it is I'm trying to get done, get out of the house 5 minutes later than I wanted to, if I'm lucky with that, driving to wherever I'm driving, hoping and praying that everything just aligns so that I get there on time. Driving then in a state of stress, right? In some way. And then getting to the place or the thing or the appointment or meeting or whatever it is, just even to the grocery store. But I'm rushing, right? I'm rushing and I'm trying to get it done as fast as I can because I have somewhere to be after that. And I'm not present. And I am a highly conscious and aware person. So even at a grocery store, I'm very conscious. I'm very aware. I'm seeing all the things and all the people, but I'm still rushing and I'm trying to get it done faster than I'm doing it. And and when I'm having this conversation with you right now, I am talking about me a couple months ago. This is unconscious programming that I have recoded and that now I am showing up and being the new me in these situations. So the reason that I brought this through today is because it's very much how my day was, as I constantly was catching myself in those old conditioned ways of being, because it's so easy for us to slip into that. And that's because our unconscious mind is running the show 88 to 95% of the time, right? So we're in that autopilot. So those of us that, are really good at being busy, at having really full days and to-do lists so that we avoid feeling and growing and expanding consciously, we just, over set our expectations for ourselves. And then a lot of us also, another way we can sabotage in this is we set ourselves up for failure of these things that we want to do or this morning routine we want to get done. And then we don't do it for whatever reason. And then we just feel like the day's a write off and go back into all of our old ways of numbing and running and hiding instead of being present and aware. So back to my example. So Cortnie, a few months ago, this was my day to day. And at this time, I was really building this company very actively, doing my best to be in flow, to be embodied, to be living as the true me, but I was still trying to get as much done as possible. And I was trying to do everything as efficiently as possible. And in all the ways I'd been trained to in all the recent courses I'd taken and blah, blah, blah. And just every day still not quite feeling like I ever had done enough. And when you're a heart awakened, spiritually connected being, when we're awake and aware, we are so much harder on ourselves when we slip into that patterning, right? Because we know better. So it was this constant loop for me of, really waking up good, doing my morning routine, really good at that. And it's solely like, it's just the best part of my day. And I stay there for a couple hours right now. I get up as early as humanly possible for me, and I just am with myself. And I love it. And I love that I've cultivated this. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that for me. And in that time, I see the day that I'm going to have and all the ways that I can show up for myself. And then life happens. The 3D reality happens. And it's this constant game of self-mastery of who am I going to be? Am I going to be the oldest version of the old me? Or am I going to be the newest version of the new me, the me that I'm here to be now? And so currently I've been consciously choosing to show up and be who I know I'm here to be. I sat here for long enough envisioning her, knowing her, seeing her, getting really fucking comfortable with in the 5D when I'm in my meditation, when I'm visioning, when I'm, you know, consciously aligned. It's very easy for me to be that version of Cortnie. It's very easy for me to be that me. But when I'm living day to day, just like with all my clients and most likely you, it is so much easier, or so we think, to just go into the programming, right? Into the programming that's already there. It's easier to just keep trying to click through all those tabs that we have open, keep trying to focus on all the old messages and DMs and all the things that we haven't dealt with instead of creating something new. And I'm here to tell you that that is the way, the way that we truly live lives that we love, the way that you become an ascended master, the way that you become a master manifester, which really just means that you're living in flow and aligned. So, like, what you want appears because you're in alignment with it, and that's why you want it. I'm not going to get into this whole manifestation conversation in this episode, but I will be talking about manifestation very soon. But I want to stay on topic of busyness. It all plays together, as you will see. But when we live day in and day out in this program of I have to do all the things to be worthy of the rewards that I want, and then we justify the things that we didn't do for ourselves because we, had these unexpected things show up and come up and other people needed us, or we just had a really hard day and got overwhelmed. And, for those of you that, know your human design or are just very connected energetically, and we know, and this is such, it can be such a trap. It can be such a trap in the awakening and ascension journey of the more conscious that we become in the present moment of our energy, of that energy, it becomes really easy for us to give ourselves the permission to just not follow through on what we want to do. And I'm guilty of this, and I'm guilty of in the past even teaching it of like, we don't want to, especially being, a generator or whatever your human design type is, but we don't want to force, we don't want to push. But there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between forcing and pushing ourselves into something that is contracting us, and forcing and pushing ourselves to something that is expanding us. And I want you to just see and feel this for a second. Like, think of something in your life right now that you really don't enjoy doing, something in your life that takes your energy away, something that just you have to do it. You have to do it. It's most likely for someone else, your job, your kids, your husband, whatever it is, or for something you think is going to work out in the future. So think of something, anything that creates contraction within you. It's like, I don't like doing it, but I need to do it for this list of reasons, right? Does the list of reasons of why you're doing that thing that maybe you don't enjoy, it's something that challenges you, or it's just something that you really just don't like, does the reason you're doing it expand you? Because this is what's been a huge breakthrough for me is I currently have been in creating this coaching company and all the things that I'm doing behind the scenes in a totally different way than I've ever done. There's a lot of things I'm doing that are new for me that I'm having to learn. And there's a lot of them that I'm really having to push and force. I'm having to push and force through the discomfort of my ego that doesn't know what to do or how to do this. I'm having to push through my unconscious patterning that's afraid that, like, I'm going to give up or I'm going to fail or I'm not going to do it perfectly and not going to feel worthy then of sharing it with anyone. So it's just going to be a waste of time, right? I'm having to push through these ways of being that the old me used to be. And it does feel like a pushing and a forcing sometimes. And but I've realized when I sit in it and I ask myself what I'm doing it for, does what I'm doing it for expand me? And so all of the things that currently are really challenging me, and some days, like, there's tech issues and things that just I want to throw things. I want to throw things. One day I threw a pen. It's like the most violent I've got. But I did throw a pen. I was so frustrated. But it wasn't until, like, oh, I'm trying to do this thing I'm not supposed to be doing and the energy isn't here. It was this, like, inner battle of my inner saboteur that was trying really hard to get me to quit because my ego, my self-consciousness wasn't doing it right, wasn't doing it perfectly, wasn't getting it right. So it was easier, it felt like, for my unconscious. It just wants to keep us alive and safe. So we don't want embarrassment, we don't want judgment, we don't want abandonment. So we're like, this isn't safe, this is hard, we're not going to do it. Right? I hope that it's making sense for you. But when I sit in it and I'm like, okay, what am I doing this for? And I think about that, and that expands me. This bigger vision. And this bigger vision that I have, that again, we will get into in further episodes, of really creating this vision that feels divinely aligned. Because when you go into these spaces that I will take you, that you can really energetically, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually connect to the why, to that you that follows through for you. When you are in those moments, you know when there's things you're doing that are hell no, that are contracting you, that are wasting your time and energy, that you need to let go of, that you need to have the conversation with someone that you promised you'd do this and it's just not aligned for you anymore. Or you need to just have a conversation with yourself that letting go of this thing is just going to create more space for something bigger. But then there's other things where it might be uncomfortable, it might be challenging, it might be pushing you, but it's pushing you out of your comfort zone purposely. It's helping you grow and expand consciously so that you can gain more confidence and capability. Because when we are creating lives that we love, when we are living consciously as the creator of our reality, there's a few steps that we need to be taking, and we need to be taking these in the beginning every day. And that first step is we need to be really clear. We need to get really clear on what it is that we want, that we want now. So we have to be here in the moment, in divine alignment with ourselves, being clear on what it is that we want, on how we want to feel, on why we want something. And if your reason for ever wanting anything is anything other than because you love to do it, be it, have it, then it's probably not a true choice for you. We need to really know that what we're doing, if you're really wanting to live the life that you're here for, you need to know that what you're doing, what you're aiming for, what you're focusing on is because you'd love to do and have it. You're not doing it because then you'll get approval of others or you'll have a certain amount in your bank account. Because then when those things don't happen, the happiness you tied to that doesn't happen, right? What we want, what we're going after has to be solely because we'd love to have it. And you know what? That vision, that thing that we're focusing on, we also are focusing on it and going towards it, expecting the unexpected, knowing that that's probably going to expand and shift and change because it's right now what we want. But as we grow and evolve consciously, as our consciousness rises, um, as our consciousness expands, that vision probably will too, right? But there's a reason. There is a reason for our hopes, our dreams, our wishes, our wants, the things that we envision, especially when we go into meditation. There is a reason that these seeds are planted in your heart. So they're leading you to the path, to your divinely aligned path. They are clues taking you there. But what's not taking you there are all those things that are just wasting your time, the things that are just keeping you busy. And most of the time, when we have things that are keeping us busy, that are on this never ending to do list that we have, the things that we're always trying to get out of the way and trying to get done so that we can have fun, those things are usually like things that we put on that list a long time ago, or things that we're doing because we're trying to prove or achieve something so that we'll get something in the future that we most likely don't even want anymore. Like, when's the last time that you really checked in with the things that you're doing and going after? We need to be constantly checking in with ourselves as to what we're focusing on and to be in the structure of creation. But what most of us do is we spend our lives problem solving, you know? Just right now, pause. And whatever your day has been till right now, how many problems have you tried to solve? How many things have you tried to get done just to get them done, just to get them out of the way? How many things have you tried to figure out? Like, what have you been currently trying to figure out so that you can have a better future? There is absolutely nothing wrong with having dreams and visions for the future. It's a part of creating lives that we love, but it needs to be aligned with us now. It's not life will be better when. Life will be better when I get this thing. That's one of the ways that we take our happiness away in the now because if we're focusing on the future and this desired reality or outcome as when that happens, I'll be happier. Things will be better. What are we saying? That right now is worse, right? Right now isn't good enough. And right now is all we have. So if we're constantly going after this carrot at the end of the stick, not realizing that there's a carrot on this end too, we're going to just keep going. We're just going to keep going and proving and trying to fix and numbing from feeling what we really want to feel and just going after the next best thing. But when you can truly start to cultivate the ability to be conscious, to be aware, to be present, and be here now as often as possible, realizing that now is perfect. Now is exactly how it's meant to be. If now was meant to be any other way, it would be. Now is exactly how it's meant to be. And whatever is happening for you, anything that is creating fear, anything that is creating anything that you aren't enjoying is just trying to show you ways that you are choosing of being that aren't in alignment with your true path, with your true self. Right? Fear is always just trying to guide us to where we are living out of alignment. Fear is showing us beliefs and thoughts that we have that aren't in alignment with our highest path. Whatever you are working to have not happen, whatever you're avoiding, whatever you're resisting, whatever you're in fear of, is owning you, is stopping and blocking you from getting what you truly want. Right? So, fear for me, fear of judgment and abandonment is something that has got in my way most of my life. And I have accomplished a lot, and I have a very persistent super consciousness that has kept pushing me to follow my passion, but I didn't feel worthy in any of it. So I was constantly sabotaging by trying to do more to prove that I was worthy, to prove that I was enough to myself, right? So I wasn't actually enjoying a lot of it because I was always feeling like I needed to do more. I needed to be more. I needed to create more. I did whatever it was, right? But this constant fear that I have had up until recently of being judged has completely owned me, has stopped me from doing what I know I want to do, which is just share, which is just talk about consciousness and how cool you are. I just want everyone to see how cool they are and how powerful you are and how much magic you hold inside. That's literally all I've wanted to do with my life, my whole life. All I want is for people to see. Like, it makes me emotional every time. All I want to do and everything I've done is because I just wholeheartedly want people to see how great they are. But the thing is that recently I realized, well, over the last few years, I realized that before I was sacrificing myself in that journey. So I decided to choose myself, did a lot of healing work, worked with a lot of different incredible people, teachers, coaches, mentors, therapists, all in all different ways to really truly find myself, and did it this time for me. Before, it was always learning and doing all these things so that how could I help others? But the focus was me. But then what happened was I've sat here for the last year in this freeze, right? So, the whole fight, flight, or freeze. I've been frozen in fear of being judged. If I truly, like, I love myself. It's a daily journey of self-mastery, but I love myself. I love being with myself. I love hearing myself. I love choosing myself every day. Not to say it's not challenging, and some days are harder and some days are easier, but I love myself. And I couldn't say that before. But I love myself and I understand myself so much that I really truly get my gifts, and being vulnerable and putting them out there. It's terrifying because that fear of judgment or fear of being wrong and not being perfect was completely owning me. It was stopping me from just posting and sharing and being heard. And how was I ever going to attract the community that I know I'm here to be a mirror for? How was I ever going to do that if I wasn't putting myself out there, right? We can do all the work. We can do all the work to envision and know ourselves and get really clear on what it is we want. We can have all the vision boards and do all of the tips and tricks and techniques to get what we want. But then if we just sit there and expect it to show up at our door, it usually doesn't. Like, we have to take the inspired action, and the inspired action that is going to lead you to that next level of your life that I'm here to hopefully coach you to. The action steps to go there they're scary. I'm not going to lie to you, because our unconscious doesn't like things it hasn't done before because its job is just to keep us alive. And it doesn't know if we can survive this new thing that we want to do. It doesn't know if we can survive a podcast. It doesn't know if we can survive that, right? Because we could get negative messages. And when we get negative messages, then our whole body goes into shutdown mode and it feels like death to our unconscious. Speaking for myself here, right? So to push through what I'm telling you right now you need to do, just one of the many things, is be present, be here, breathe, feel, and be honest with yourself. Does whatever you're doing expand or contract you? Right? So as much as I've sat here and hit re-record, had a dog or cat or boyfriend make noise and have to edit things, or just hope you guys don't hear it in the background, whatever it is, even though I've had to sit here and for like days and hours on end pushing through a lot of discomfort, it wasn't a pushing and forcing where it was like I'm doing this because I'm trying to prove something and this is on my like list of things that I want to accomplish to be a successful person that my parents approve of. It's been I'm pushing through this because I know and see the version of me that I'm here to be, and she knows how to podcast, but she has to trial and error her way to it. I also have to constantly remind myself that I'm a 6'2" profile. I only run on trial and error. I need to do and experience things to see if they're for me. And so whatever it is for you, whatever your profile is, whatever your human design is, whatever your way that you are made up, whatever your alchemy is, I can help you, and there's a lot of others that can, to really know the things, to know your human design, to know all the facts about you. But if you aren't showing up for you in the moment, checking in and just feeling in the moment what it feels like to be you. Is what you're doing true for you? Is it what you want to do? Does it feel aligned? And the reason that a lot of the time we don't follow what's truly aligned for us is because we don't know how it's going to work out, right? We don't know if it's going to put money in our bank account. We don't know if it will be approved by our parents, our partner, our friends, whatever. None of that matters. It needs to be approved by you here and now. So what I'm here is a little summary of this episode. What I really wanted to share and get clear for you today, or hope to clarify for you, knowing that again, if you're hearing this, then it is divinely aligned for you. It's to stop being so fucking busy. To stop being so busy that you aren't being you. Because as much as time is an illusion and every moment is the only moment, well, every moment is also all moments. Every moment is everything. And you are in whatever timeline you're choosing to be in. Again, conversations we'll get into more in the future. But to simplify, right here, right now is all you have. In this moment, you choosing to do and be what you want to because it expands you is the goal. So even when you're having to do mundane things like laundry, grocery shop, whatever it is, when you can be present in it, everything is magic. Everything is a miracle. Everything is a portal to grow and expand. Because doing and folding laundry, you could listen to a really good playlist and dance and move and be present with your body and make it enjoyable. You could listen to an epic podcast while you vacuum that expands your consciousness. Maybe you're vacuuming right now while listening to this one, right? Like there are ways that no matter what it is, you can choose to expand. You can choose to evolve. You can choose to experience your life and yourself because the future happiness is never coming. The future happiness is never coming. And I don't say that in like a Debbie Downer way. I say that to awaken you to the fact that this is it. So the next moment after, like this right now, this moment right here is arriving as it is based in how you just were. And it continues like that. So the more that you stay aligned and present, and the more that you cultivate the ability to come back anytime you realize you've got into that unconscious programming, you start to live for you. So, like I said before, when I work with people, honestly, one of my biggest goals is for you to just love yourself enough to give yourself an hour a day where you don't have any expectation on yourself. Because I know that the more you do that, the more it grows and the more every day becomes that. Doesn't mean that you're not going to plan things. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get housework done. It doesn't mean that you're not going to, you know, go to work or do the things that maybe aren't your favorite things to do, but you're going to do them knowing where they're leading you. You're going to do them consciously. And when you start to do that, what happens is we start to more and more live super consciously, which is living consciously in the moment and choosing the unknown, choosing what feels good now based in your presence and choosing right now focused on that future you're creating. Again, not because when you get there you'll be happy. You're happy now. You're expecting that you'll be happier every day, but you're happy now. And every day that you can learn to cultivate the ability, the capacity, the capability of being happy as you, life then truly does feel abundant, limitless. Abundance to me is the amount that I am present in this experience. To me, abundance is how much of my day did I enjoy? Was I there? Was I present? Right? And when you start to really see this, and again, it can be challenging, but it's not an opportunity then to be hard on yourself. If you have days where you're like, it's 10 o'clock at night and I don't know what happened between 6 a.m. and now, right? Like I was just in that unconscious programming. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You are human. So it's not then oh, I fucked up. I didn't live present today. So I'm not a good enough awakened being. No. No, it's an opportunity to learn and grow. It's an opportunity to be like, okay, well, what was it about today that made me so unconscious? Right? Why did I decide to fall back into that old programming? Or maybe you currently have things that you're working on trying not to do, right? Maybe there's habits or patterns or ways of being that you know aren't aligned with the true you, so you're trying to stop doing them. What happens when we try and stop doing something and we focus on it, we want it more. We notice it more, we think about it more. Because what we focus on is what we create, right? It's what we attract. So if there's things that you're trying to avoid doing or ways of being that you're trying to stay away from, most likely or usually, then we end up doing it more, or it's just consuming our thoughts and we feel exhausted from just trying all day to not scroll social media, to not eat this thing, to not smoke a cigarette, whatever it is. But when you start to cultivate the ability to create instead of problem solve, that's when magic happens. Because what you start to do, instead of trying to avoid and not do that thing, instead of all day trying to solve the problem of fixing this thing or this way of being, and we start to just focus on what I want to create, what feels expansive, where does my joy want me to go? Like, where is expanding you? What feels like joy for you? What feels expansive? Moving towards that, doing that will lead you to everything that you're looking for and even more, because you don't even have a clue as to how good it gets to be for you when you can get out of this cycle. But as I started this episode, the thing that you really, I don't want to tell you need to do, but I want to tell you need to do, the thing that I encourage you to do, or at least be aware of, is how busy are you being? How much is the habit of busy controlling your day? This is the way it is in any and every moment. It is how it is. And if it was meant to be any other way, it would be. Anything in the past was what it was. And if it was meant to be any different, it would have been. And the only thing about anything before this moment that makes it real is how you perceive and feel about it. So we can spend all this time trying to like problem solve the past by feeling different about it or perceiving it different or telling a different story, or you can do it the fun way. This is the fun way. I used to do it the other way, but this is the fun way, is let the past be the past. Everything about the past will show up in the present moment when it needs to. When it needs to come to you, when it gets triggered and activated, a self-limiting belief or something that's challenging or something that you've learned in the last 20, 30, 40 years needs to come to the table, it'll show up. You don't need to go searching. It's there. It'll be there. The fun way to ascend is to be here now and be the version of you want to be. Every version of you exists. So you in this moment, you can be the version of you that's overwhelmed, that's exhausted, that's burnt out. You can be the version of you that's grateful, that's compassionate, that's loving to that person that just a moment ago was overwhelmed and burnt out. Or maybe you choose to be the version of you that is ready to just go after your dreams, that's ready to show up and shine, to show up and sign up for that thing you've been wanting to do, show up and share your voice in that post you've been wanting to put out, whatever it is, you know the answer in every moment. It's just if you're going to choose to take your power back, because in any moment where you're not present, you're giving your power away. And most of the time it's to those unconscious beliefs and egoic fears. And that will just keep running and controlling your life until you choose to live super consciously, to be present here and now, to choose to be the version of you that you want to be. You don't need to know how you're going to get where you're going. You don't need to know. You actually don't get to know. And the more you can care about not knowing, the better. The more that you just follow what brings you expansion and happiness, the easier it comes. Anytime that you try and control and manipulate the outcome, you're really just slowing down the process. You're not getting it wrong. It's always how it's meant to be. It's just you're making it harder on yourself and you're slowing down the process. And I'm here today to hopefully inspire you to stop making it so hard, to stop slowing down the process of you living a life you love. And right here, right now, just commit. Commit to choosing you a little bit more every day, to showing up a little bit more for you in every way so that you can live your life on purpose. And living your life on purpose is just living your life as you. And everything that you're meant to have, you'll have. Everything that you want, you will have. You don't need to figure out the way. It'll be figured out. The course you need to take, the job you need to take, the job you need to quit, the relationship you need to end, the relationship you need to start, whatever it is, it will all be clear if you're here. So, to go back to where I was a little bit ago, we need to have that clarity. We need to have that clarity on how it is that we want to feel, on what it is that we truly desire. Once you have that clarity, then you start to move towards it, right? And in that, you're going to build the capability to show up for yourself, to follow the expansion, and you're going to have the confidence more and more to go after what you dream of. And then it's just here. Before you know it, you're just living the life that you were dreaming of. There's so much more to this there is so much more to it, but it's also this easy. It is this easy if you let it be. I encourage you to let life be easy, to show up, to choose yourself, to be yourself. And if you're sitting there listening to me and you're like, I have no idea what you fucking mean, Cortnie. I don't know how to be me. I've got 3 kids and 2 jobs and these bills, and it all sounds great, but there is no time for me to do this. There's time for you in every moment. There's time for you in every moment. There's time for you when you're doing the dishes. There's time for you when you're washing the floors. There's time for you when you're driving to work. There's time for you when you're dealing with children. There's time for you. It's just that you have to choose to be there. The number one way that you help is by being you. So when you're there consciously doing the dishes, enjoying a podcast, listening to music, being in silence, whatever it is, do that. Because we all know we're not going to enjoy, I mean, most of us anyways, sitting there being like, oh, I'm choosing me. I'm just going to sit here on the couch and do nothing while there's a stack of dishes or laundry needs to be done. We're probably not going to be very present, and we're going to be really hard on ourselves. So be with whatever you're doing as the true you, instead of being caught in the habit of being in your head, trying to rush through it, trying to get it done so that you can get the next thing done, so that you can get the next thing done. Because when you get all these things done, then you will be worthy of giving yourself the time. But most likely you'll be exhausted and you won't give yourself the time. And the more that you show up for yourself in all the moments, you will start to become really conscious of the things that are and aren't for you. And then you realize, you know what? I'd be a lot more productive and a lot more effective if I just paid someone to clean my house twice a week. Yeah, it might cost me a little bit of money, but what I can do with that time is going to give me 3 times as much. This clarity will start to come to you. That's what living divinely aligned is. The clarity, the answers will all come if you choose to be where you are now. Happiness only happens now. Everything only happens now. But that's also why so many of us numb and run and avoid, right? And we all know our ways that we avoid, that we run, that we hide, that we numb. But one way that I see very few people talking about, and that I see every single person doing, is busyness. And that's like physically, it's also mentally. I see a lot of people too that, would call themselves lazy. But honestly, truthfully, a lot of them are like the most hardworking people energetically, because they're doing all these things to just completely avoid going after their dreams. Okay. I hope that this is all giving you some awakening, some ahas, some, I don't know, a kick in the butt to get out and do what you want to do. Another thing, I almost just said it and then I just said get out, because I'm trying really hard to not say this anymore, because I realized that I was just saying it and not really paying attention to what it meant or how it felt. But this whole idea of we're in our way. We are never in our way. We need to stop being so hard on ourselves. We're never in our way. You can't be in or out of your way. You are the way, and everything is how it is. You are choosing what you're choosing. This moment is how it is. It's just that you can make it easier. You can enjoy it more by living and being present and choosing what feels right for you, by following what feels expansive, by choosing your joy, by going in the direction of your happiness. Like, where is the energy of happiness? Where is the frequency of expansion in any moment? What is joy telling you to do? However you want to do it. In any moment, if you're present and you're intimate with yourself, which means just fucking listening to yourself, feeling yourself, breathing and being with yourself, you know the way. So yes, on a like surface level, we can say get in and out of our way. But really, the one thing that is truly always here is you. You don't remove yourself or put yourself in the way of yourself. You just complicate it. You make it harder than it needs to be. And I'm here today to encourage you to make it easy, to just choose you, to do what you want to do, what feels good for you. Follow what feels expansive. Let love lead you. I promise you, the minute that you surrender and let go of trying to control the future, your reality becomes so good. And all the things that you're wanting to happen, that you're dreaming of, those ideal versions of you, they get to be true. As soon as you shift your identity, to whatever you want it to be, we can shift and change our identity at any time. And if you're telling me that's not true, that's just a limiting belief. It's your unconscious and self-conscious afraid of that truth. You can be whoever you want to be. You're just so used to being who you are. But the minute that you see that you get to shift your identity and be who you want to be, magic and miracles appear and you take them. Because they're always here. It's just a lot of the time we don't take them because they aren't in alignment with our reality of suffering, of busy. And I'm not saying that everyone out there is sitting there suffering and struggling, but if you aren't truly living a life that is expanding and exciting you every day, then you are settling in ways. And there is always more happiness. There is always more joy and bliss and abundance and oneness, because that's really what it's all about. We're all one, and we need more of us that are having fun, that are raising the energy, the consciousness of the collective. There's enough of us out there lowering it. We need more of us anchoring and being and beaming the light, expanding instead of contracting, enjoying instead of avoiding, living instead of numbing. Okay. Thank you for going on this journey with me today. I would love if you wanted to let me know how this episode was for you. You can reach out on Instagram, or if you're on Spotify, there is a place somewhere where you can let me know anything you want to. You can also voice memo me. All really fun. I also haven't done this yet, but I do know that there's more beings out there who are meant to be on this divinely aligned journey with me. So if you got anything out of this and you wanted to like rate it, share it, like it, whatever, it would mean the world to me. Yeah. And I've got a lot more things coming very soon so we can connect and expand more together. So thank you again for co-creating this magic, and I love you lots. Stay aligned divinely.